Tropical Storm Helene is doing some really interesting things on satellite today. So we're going to talk about what's going on with it structurally, as well as its potential track and intensity, and what to expect with it. But first, if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button and help this channel to grow and also get those future notifications. But let's jump right into it. Take a look at the satellite here. So what you can see, you can clearly see the center of circulation right there, right in the middle of the screen. And then around it, we have some convection firing up. And that's what I'm looking at right now is can that convection, or I should say, how quickly can that convection wrap all the way around the center of it? Because the sooner it's able to do that, the quicker it is going to be able to intensify. And I think once that convection, because structurally, I mean, this thing's looking pretty good. It's starting to look symmetrical. Really wasn't this morning. It was low level circulation was kind of off to the northeast under some convection, but it was really kind of asymmetrical. And what happened was it was really kind of unexpected. The lower level circulation just moved south under that convection, which was completely unexpected. It was just moving due south actually for like a good couple of hours. But I think that's kind of helped it in a way. Now it's able to kind of get out from that. It's starting to breathe a little bit better. And now some convection starting to fire up around that center. So we'll see how quickly that convection can wrap all the way around it. So that's number one that we're looking for. And then number two is going to be where exactly does this thing track in the short term? Some of the hurricane models are bringing it over or into the Yucatan. And what that would do is actually would be good news for Florida because that would disrupt it from intensifying. It would really impact its structure and then would move back into the Gulf and eventually towards Florida. And it just wouldn't have as much time to get its act back together, which would result in probably still a hurricane, but a weaker hurricane as opposed to something more higher end on the scale here. So that's going to be interesting to see. Now, what we are seeing is this thing moving generally northwest, but there's been a pretty good jog to the north over the last couple hours. So that makes me think that this thing is not going to go over the Yucatan, but I'm still holding out hope, right? Hope for the best and prepare for the worst, right? But that's what I'm seeing now, but it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens as we go into the overnight hours. And if we go to the National Hurricane Track, and they're kind of thinking the same thing. So X marks the spot. That's where our storm is currently. And they have a hurricane just off the coast of the Yucatan tomorrow morning. So they are thinking that it's going to miss the Yucatan as well. And then develop into a major hurricane by Thursday morning, and then move into the Big Bend or the eastern part of the Panhandle by late Thursday. I think we're looking at a late Thursday, early Friday landfall. Pop over to the GFS here, and we can see that. So this is now, so that's 8 p.m. on Friday. You can see just offshore. So again, going with the late Thursday night, overnight Thursday type of landfall here. And the one thing I want to point out is look at all those strong winds on the eastern side of the storm. So, and it's going to be moving fast. If you're inland, even into Georgia and the Carolinas, I think overnight Thursday, early Friday, you are still going to be seeing some strong gusty winds. A lot of focus has been on how strong does this thing get, where exactly does it come in on shore. But regardless of that, this thing's going to be moving fast. It's still going to be a hurricane at landfall, no matter if it goes over the Yucatan or not. So if you're inland of this thing, be prepared for localized power outages in Georgia, into the Carolinas. We could be seeing that as well as some severe activity. There could be some fast track tornadoes that could get put down with this thing. So have a way to get those warnings, especially overnight if you're sleeping on Thursday night, and there's nothing scarier than a tornado in the middle of the night. So just make sure you have a way to get those warnings. As far as the intensity of this thing goes, so this is the model intensity guide here. It's been all over the place. I think what happened, this is the 18Z. This is kind of down in its intensity from earlier runs today, and I think that's because we saw that low-level circulation drop to the south, and the hurricane models kind of adjusted to that, brought the storm more south into the Yucatan, which would result in a weaker hurricane. But it's interesting to see it now kind of jog more to the north, so I'll be interested to see how those 0Z models come out to see if they actually reflect a stronger storm. So that remains to be seen. We'll see. So track still up in the air a little bit. We're looking at it, high confidence that it's going to be probably somewhere in the Big Bend or the eastern part of the Panhandle. Slight variations are going to happen this far out. We'll narrow that down more tomorrow. And then the intensity is still a big question mark, but a lot of that I think is going to be answered over the next 12 to 36 hours as far as where exactly does this thing Does this thing track? How quickly does that convection wrap around? So these are all questions that are still on the table, but I think they're going to be answered pretty shortly. And here are those potential tracks there. So you can see high confidence northwest Florida along the Panhandle. But just because you're not going to be directly under the center doesn't mean you're going to see impacts. So there's going to be rain bands that are going to be coming ashore as early as tomorrow. Actually, let's pop over to the European. So this is now late tomorrow. You can see those rain bands hitting the western coast of Florida. And they'll put that into motion here. And then you can see, so, western Florida, Tampa Bay area down to Fort Myers, Naples. I mean, you're probably going to be pretty far away from the center, but you're still going to be seeing some impacts as soon as tomorrow. And then the European, again, this is now 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. on Thursday. So again, with the late Thursday, early Friday landfall there. So as far as impacts go, so storm surge is going to be significant with this thing. 10 to 15 feet in the Big Bend, 5 to 10 feet just west of there. Even Tampa Bay, you're looking at 5 to 8. Tampa Bay is very prone to storm surge. So this is a good thing this is not coming directly into Tampa Bay. There's been some storms where we've seen some jogs at the last minute. Let's hope that doesn't happen because Tampa Bay is 5 to 8 feet is enough. I definitely don't want to see that 10 to 15 feet plus in the Tampa Bay area. But for now, 5 to 8, 10 to 15 along the Big Bend. And then obviously there's going to be some rainfall with this thing, some very heavy rainfall. Even though it's a fast mover, it will start to slow down as it moves north into northern Georgia and the Carolinas. So you're looking at 4 to 6 in the yellow, 6 to 8 in that first shade of shade of orange, and then 8 to 12 possibly we could see parts of the higher terrain there north of Atlanta, foothills in the Carolinas as well. But we'll see what's going to do tonight. It's very interesting. I think tonight's going to be very telling as far as the overall track and intensity of the storm. So please hit that subscribe button, and we will be back tomorrow with another update. Thanks for watching.